Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Josie's Point of View, where we focus on human interest stories from the Carolinas and beyond. Today's Saturday and it's December the 16th, 2023. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new to my channel, I'd like to extend to you a warm welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you find the information here to be informative. And if you're a returning viewer, by all means, thank you for coming by. I always say the tide changes so frequently here on these YouTube streets. So you always have to acknowledge where your support comes from. And I want you to know I sincerely thank you for your support. Feel free to like and to share this video. And don't forget to subscribe. Well, it's been several months since we had a child sex offender roundup, and it's long overdue. So, in this video, I'm bringing you up to date with a summary of a few of the arrests, just a few, as well as a few of the convictions I have reviewed over the past few months. And I also want to highlight what I see as patterns of inconsistencies in the type of bonds that are handed down from one courtroom to another. As you will see, today's video covers all spectrum: parents, preachers, teachers, police officers, even babysitters. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll provide you with a summary here, and as always, I'll place links to a few of the full articles in the description box. So let's begin with a reminder as to why videos such as this one is so very important. No expert agreed that child sex abuse is simply out of control, and a lot more needs to be done in order to keep our children safe. So this is a major public health concern, and I often wonder why more people are just not talking about it. Now, the World Health Organization states that over 120 million children and young women fall victims to this type of abuse, and sadly, majority of these cases go unreported. Imagine that. It's called unreported. And it's no different here in the United States, where it has been reported that every 9 minutes, another child becomes a victim of child sexual abuse. Reports say this represents 1 in every 9 girls and 1 in every 20 boys, and over 90% of these abuses are committed by individuals who are known to the victims. So my goal here is to promote awareness and remind victims they are not alone, and they no longer have to suffer in silence. They no longer have to live with the guilt, that it's okay to speak up and share their stories. I want to begin in Surrey County here in North Carolina, because this was by far the largest bond I have ever seen for a person who was accused or charged with a child sex crime. Now, the date of this reporting was September the 18th, 2023, and that's the date it was reported by the Surrey County Sheriff's Office. And as you can see here, this is the headline that captured my attention, and it says, Mount Airy man facing 73 charges, including RAPE and incest. And we're talking about 39-year-old Jonah Isaac Brannon, who resides in Mount Airy here in North Carolina. And he was arrested after a month-long investigation. And Brannon is charged of sexual misconduct on his own biological children. And of the 73 charges that he's facing, 19 of them are for incest. Now, here are the charges: 27 counts of indecent liberties with a minor, 19 counts of first-degree statutory sexual offense, 19 counts of incest, 7 counts of statutory RAPE, and 1 count of crime against nature. An investigation is saying this may be a much larger case than what's presented right now, so they say it remains open and it's still under investigation. I should mention that some of his victims were under the age of 13. They did not say how many children were involved or how long this pattern of abuse had been ongoing, but we know that more than one biological child was involved. So he's facing 73 charges, and at his first court appearance, he was issued a bond of $11 million. And make no mistake, I am definitely not questioning the size of this bond. The crimes against these children had to be so horrific for such a bond to be imposed. We'll see how the case progresses. And before leaving Surrey County, let's look at a more recent case that was reported by the sheriff's office there. And the date of this reporting was November the 2nd, 2023, last month. And specifically, this case is from Dodson, North Carolina. It was reported that on November the 2nd, police arrested this man, 32-year-old Emilio Lopez Rodnix, and charged him with 2 counts of first-degree statutory RAPE, 2 counts of incest, 3 counts of indecent liberties with a child, and 1 count of statutory RAPE offense. Now, this arrest was the direct result of an investigation triggered due to a social service referral. So someone reported the abuse to social services and they contacted their police. Nice job when these agencies are actually working together. And interesting enough, this man, this suspect, is a non-documented immigrant who had been previously, he's been deported, but he came back. So he had been deported out of the United States. He changed his name and he came right back and was violating children, a child or children where he lived. And for them to charge him with incest, we know it's against either his own biological children or his stepchildren. But the report did not elaborate, and that's to be expected. And he was probably doing the same thing at the previous place of residence, but we don't have that information. But the most important thing here is that he was arrested, charged, locked up, and given a huge bond, a very huge bond. For his bond was set at over $5 million, over $5 million. So hopefully that keeps him locked up until his trial. And moving right along to the town of Pendleton here in North Carolina, and the date of this reporting was October the 3rd, 2023. And we're talking about 49-year-old Thomas Wing II of Pendleton. And I had to take a second look because he does look much older than 49. But initially, nonetheless, Thomas Wing II of Pendleton was initially arrested in August on several outstanding warrants that included felony incest of a child, 13 to 15-year-old, 1 count of felony incest, 1 count of first-degree kidnapping, 1 count of felony statutory RAPE of a child under the age of 15, 2 counts of sexual activity by a parent or custodian, 1 count of felony charge against nature, and 1 count of felony indecent liberties with a child. A whole lot of sickening charges. Now, we don't know how long this abuse had been going on, but it was triggered by an investigation that started back in June, and by the end of August, there was a warrant out for his arrest. Wing is currently locked up in the Northampton County Jail with a bond set at $1.5 million. So let's now travel to Hendersonville, which is in Henderson County. And the date of this reporting by the Henderson County Police Department was October the 6th, 2023. Now, police said that back in early September, their detectives from the Major Crime Unit began investigating what was described as incest between a local man and his biological daughter. Now, police did not say specifically what prompted their investigation, but based on the comments, it appears that the young girl most likely was the one who shared this information with someone outside of the home. Now, after a search warrant was issued, police seized photos and videos containing the existence of incest along with other child sexual abuse material. So he was violating his own daughter and he was making videos and taking pictures, and we really don't know how many other children were involved. And as a result of their investigation, this man pictured here, 40-year-old Bruce Eric Holloman, was arrested on 40 charges that included incest and sexual exploitation of a minor. He remains in jail with a bond over $1.6 million. And in order to preserve the integrity of their case, police are saying they will not be publicly releasing any additional information, and I'm sure it's in order to protect the identity of the victim as well. So we're moving right along, and this time it's the Bertie County and the town of Windsor here in North Carolina. The date of this report was December the 13th, 2023, just a few days ago. And this is a headline that caught my attention. You know, Bertie County man charged with child sex crimes. Now, what generated this case was a call from the Terrell County Department of Social Services. Now, they made a call to police, and police started an investigation. And again, it's just great to hear that DSS and the police department are working together. And as a result of the investigation and follow up interviews, now the information was so compelling that a grand jury rendered an indictment for the arrest of 40-year-old LaTron Sumner, pictured here. The charges were inappropriate sex acts with a minor, but specifically, he was charged with 3 counts of statutory sex with a child under the age of 15, 3 counts of incest, 2 counts of attempted sex acts by a parent or custodian, 1 count of disseminating obscenity to a minor. And when he appeared for his first court appearance, he was denied bond. And herein lies the disparity. Why not deny bond to all of them? Why give it to some and deny it to others? Deny it for all of them. But nonetheless, he's in jail, and hopefully that's where he's going to stay until his trial. Bond was denied. And I'm sure you can probably tell by now that there are a lot of cases out there, but I can't cover them all. So I selected a few more for discussion, and this one definitely piqued my interest. And the headline read, Third set of child sex crime charges brought against ex-youth pastor. And the date of this reporting was either the end of August or the first week in September. Police say 41-year-old Aaron Merchant was initially arrested based on a cyber tip and charged with exploitation of a minor. He was assigned a bond of $20,000, which in my opinion is very, very low. I'm saying, what's the point of giving someone who violates a child a bond of $20,000? He pays 10%, which is $2,000, and he's right back out on the street. What's the point? Now, police continued their investigation, and the day of his court appearance, his first court appearance, there were more warrants and additional charges. 10 additional counts of indecent liberties with a minor. So had a new arrest, and now he was given a bond of $50,000. But that's not the end of it. There were more warrants and more charges, still for indecent liberties with a child. This time he was given a bond of $150,000. And by the way, he had been an elementary school teacher, and after the final set of charges it was disclosed, he had recently taken a job as a youth pastor. Representatives from the church where he was working, they told the news media they were blindsided by his arrest. We're almost done, but I definitely wanted to speak on this one, and it's an incident coming out of Wilmington, North Carolina, and the headline read, Babysitter who worked for YMCA at area school arrested for child sex offenses. And the date of this incident, or the date of the reporting, was September 29th, 2023. And police say they arrested a junior at UNC Wilmington, 21-year-old Elijah Jacob Donato, and charged him with sexual exploitation of a minor and 2 counts of taking indecent liberties with children. At the time of his arrest, police say his school major, was kindergarten and preschool education at UNCW, and he was employed by the local YMCA as a site coordinator for an after-school program right there in Wrightsville at Wrightsville Elementary School. But we should say his arrest was not related to his job at YMCA. He solicited babysitting jobs, and it was a parent reviewing their home camera who caught him making a child he was babysitting do specific things. And police said when they searched his home, they found additional incriminating information. So thanks to a watchful eye of a home camera, an internal home camera, they caught him in the act. He was arrested and he was issued a bond of $500,000. And finally, we returned closer to home, and this time it's to Harnett County, which is essentially our neighbors. And this was a case where the Harnett County Sheriff's Office, they were forced to report on the arrest of one of their own. As you can see from the headline on this slide, Harnett County deputy out on bond after being arrested for sexually exploiting children, and the date of this notification was December the 5th, 2023. And we're talking about 35-year-old Jonathan Andrews Edwards, a former Harnett County police officer. And I say former because, once these things come to light, they no longer have a job. But he had been with the department since 2013, and at the time of this incident, he was working in the patrol division. Well, he was arrested and charged with 10 counts of felony first-degree sexual exploitation of a minor and 1 count of felony obstruction of justice. Some of the children were as young as 7 years old. Now, according to the arrest warrant, Edwards sexually exploited multiple children ranging in ages between 7 and 17 years old. And in addition to what he actually did with the children, he's also accused of destroying the digital evidence and hence the obstruction of justice charge. So he tried to get rid of the evidence. It just didn't work for him. And as expected, once these charges came to light, he was first placed on administrative leave by the sheriff's office, and then he was later terminated. And because of his role as a police officer, the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation, they are leading the investigation into his crime. So Edwards was indicted on 10 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor and 1 count of obstruction of justice. Initially, he was assigned a bond of $1 million, but a judge later reduced it to $500,000, and he was able to make bond. And I believe I saw where his next court appearance is around the middle of January. So that's my summary for this week, a brief overview of some of the arrests for child sex crimes in our state. And believe me when I tell you there's probably 3 or 4 times the numbers reported here, and I'm just referring to those charged within the last 2 to 3 months. There are many, many more out there. I wanted to share with you a few sentencing and the jail time those individuals received, but I'll save that for next week. And as I always do when I cover this topic, I always take the time to remind victims that you are not alone, and whatever happened to you was definitely not your fault. And don't be afraid to speak up and to tell your story. Remember, in the state of North Carolina, there's no statute of limitation on the reports and the charges for child sexual assault. So speak up, share your truth, and seek your justice. And that's all I have for you right now. Feel free to leave me a comment below and let me know what you think about this video. And by all means, feel free to like it and to share it. And if you haven't done so already, I want to invite you to subscribe to my channel by clicking on that red subscribe button. It's on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. And if you click on the bell that looks just like this one, that's the notification bell. If you click on that notification bell, you'll be the first to know whenever a new video is uploaded. I thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.